Hello everybody, I'm Dan. Welcome to my Java tutorial series. Throughout my tutorials I will teach you Java using just Notepad and the command prompt. The order in which my tutorials are organized on both my website at javacjava.com and my YouTube playlist is designed to maximize learning by building on concepts from prior tutorials. This tutorial is about the FileWriter class, and I'm going to be using the constructor that basically takes a string file name for the name of the file we want to create. I'm going to go and open up my website, javacjava.com, select begin, and I'm going to scroll down to the FileWriter class. So the purpose of the FileWriter class is to simply write character-based files. The FileWriter class implements AutoClosable so we can use the try with resources type exception handling. Now there are 5 overloaded constructors in the FileWriter class. This tutorial will focus only on the 2 that take a string parameter representing the file name. Regarding the other 3 constructors, I will revisit this class later once I've demonstrated the File and FileDescriptor classes. The file's a pretty extensive class, by the way, so it is also interesting to note that the FileWriter class does not define or override any public methods, so it inherits all of its methods from its superclass OutputStreamWriter. OutputStreamWriter is a subclass of writer, which is a subclass of object, and that describes the class hierarchy. So basically, here's the signature for the FileWriter constructor right here. So, all right, let's go ahead and come down here and highlight all this source code. Control-C to copy, or right-click and select copy. I'm going to move my browser off screen. I've got a shortcut to the command prompt on the desktop, but if you don't, you can simply create one by right-clicking, selecting New Shortcut, CMD, Next, and Finish. All right, let's go and open that up and type in javac, which is a Java compiler command. You should see all this stuff scroll by. However, if you don't, if you get an error message, watch my tutorial on installing and configuring the Java development kit, and make sure you get that done before continuing. CD space CLS to clear the screen, CD space backslash, CD short for change directory, backslash tells it to go to root. I'm going to make a directory here called Java with the MD command. Now I already have that folder, but if you don't, I'll go ahead and create it for you. Change directories to the Java folder. I'm going to make a directory here just called FW, short for FileWriter. Let's change directories to the FileWriter folder and notepad fw.java. fw.java is the name of our source code file, also known as a compilation unit. All right, let's Control-V. Let's paste all this stuff in here. Come up here and save. So we'll be importing the Java I/O package here. Single class in here, FW, main method entry point. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is use with the try statement, we're going to use the try with resources, right? And that's basically in the parentheses here ahead of the try code block, we put in the line that we want to basically, it'll call the close method when it's all done with it here for us, so we don't have to bother with that. Okay. So the first thing we've got here is FileWriter, reference variable FW, and setting that equal to a new instance of FileWriter, and we're using the constructor that passes it a string for the file name. We'll just call it example.txt, and that'll create this on this actual folder right here, the Java FW folder on the C drive. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is invoke the write method, which it inherited from OutputStreamWriter there, and I think in my tutorial I said InputStreamWriter. No, OutputStreamWriter, okay. A little confusion this morning. Never mind what I just said. Okay, so we're using the write method, and we're going to write this string value here. If you watched my OutputStreamWriter tutorial, then you're familiar with what these 3 different versions do here, right? Actually, these are the same. It's just auto-boxing this character here into an integer type. But we'll pass a string literal to the first to the write method here, and that'll write that to the text file. Then we need to write a carriage return, which is an ASCII 13, and a new line, right? Carriage return, line feed, or new line. And this is the new line escape sequence as a char literal, right? And so we could have also put a 10 in here too as well, which is the ASCII representation of the new line. I believe I also could have put like a character literal /r. Let's see. See how my memory is going. I haven't used that one in a long time, but I think that's a carriage return. We'll just go ahead and try that, right? Let's see. Okay, well anyway, so we'll just write these 5 lines of text here to a text file. All right, let's go ahead and save that. Let's clear our screen. Java C, compile this, and Java to run it, FW. Okay, so of course nothing displayed to the console, but if we do a dir, which is short for directory, we can see we've got this example.txt right here, in addition to our FW Java, and of course our bytecode compiled FW class here. So let's just type in notepad example.txt, take a look at that. First line of the text, second line of the text file, third, fourth, and fifth line of the text file. Okay, so that's pretty much exactly what we were expecting on that, and my memory didn't fail me. That is the escape sequence for carriage return. But anyway, we'll just keep the 13s in there. It's a good representation of it. All right, now let's, so we went ahead and opened the file in Notepad and we checked it out. Now let's write it again, and it will get overwritten, okay? So I'm just going to move my multi-line comment down to here. All right, let's come up here and save this. So I'm doing the exact same thing, just over again, right? So let's come up here, save this. Let's clear our screen, recompile, rerun it. Okay, and now if we do a directory again, we can see here's example text, and its file size is the same here too, so actually maybe just one larger. Anyway, example.txt, you can see it's same thing, and that's because this first one up here created it, right? And then the next one, because I'm using the exact same ones, the single parameter string, if you pass in a string argument, the single parameter version of FileWriter on the constructor will simply overwrite if it exists, right? So this one, this source code basically overwrote everything this one did here. Okay, so let's use the second constructor, which takes two parameters here. First one being a string parameter, next one is a Boolean, right? And I've got them up here, right, on the top of the tutorial for reference there, if you ever need to refer to that. And that will append it in there by specifying true. Okay, now let's come move our multi-line down here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to create the file, then we're going to overwrite the file, and then we're going to append to the file. Okay, so let's save this. Let's clear our screen, Java C, compile that, Java, let's run it. Okay, let's do a directory. Now you can see example.txt is now 302 bytes, notepad, example.txt. All right, so there we go. We appended all that in to the file there. So that's the way that works. All right, let's go ahead and close out of that. And the last thing that I want to demonstrate is using escape sequences for the backslash, right? Oh, one more thing I want to demonstrate here too. Actually, let's come back up here and let's put our multi-line comment back up here with this, right? We could have simply actually done like /r/n here too as well, by the way. So, but I just wanted to demonstrate the various different versions of the right method in there of that. So let's go ahead and for the first two lines in this file here, /r/n, all right, carriage return, new line, and let's come up here and save this. Let's clear our screen, Java C, recompile it, rerun it. There's our smaller file. Okay, so you can see that works just the same there too as well. So if you did a couple different ways you can do that, but you definitely have to remember to put the carriage return and new line in there. For example, if you forget the carriage return and try it, right, it's going to look a little funky here. Let me show you. Let's clear our screen. We'll do that too as well. Okay, you could see that the carriage return didn't, it all failed out there, right? There may be a new line character sandwich somewhere in here, but it's not humanly visible anyway, so it just didn't really work. So you always want to make sure that you include a carriage return and a line feed when you're writing lines to a file, okay? All right, the last thing that I want to show you here is, let's take this multi-line comment out here. This multi-line, and let's get rid of all the multi-line comments. So of course an escape character, right? In order to do a backslash, you have to, so let's see, system.out.println. If we just do a backslash, right? I'm just gonna save this and display, here is a backslash, right? Let's come up here and save this. Okay, so you can see it gets all errored out on us. Unclosed string literal. Now you're like, okay, well I want to, for example, on C:\Java, I want to create a file here called sample.txt. So in order to do an escape sequence on a backslash, you have to do a double backslash, because of course, like for example, the escape sequence character is in fact the backslash. So that's like, for example, the new line, and that's the carriage return and line feed up there. So it's important to understand that. So if we actually wanted to display to the console a backslash, we have to actually put in two of them. This one being the escape character, right? And this one being the character we actually want to display, okay? All right, so let's clear our screen. Let's make sure I save this up here. Let's rerun this. Okay, so here is a backslash, and you can see we only got our single backslash there. Now, in this line of code down here, what I did is a new FileWriter and specified C:\Java, right? Because they escaped it out. So you have to escape that out for this to be C:\Java/sample.txt. All right, and so I probably just actually, since I specified true, I might have written these two string literals to the file in there anyway, but let's go ahead and check it out. So cd space ... cd ... will make it go down a folder there, right? So now we're right off of the Java folder off the root. If we do a directory here now, we have sample.txt. So let's do notepad sample.txt, okay? So hello FileWriter, so easy to make files. All right, so that will pretty much about do it for this tutorial. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that, close out of this, leave you with guys with a quick final thought there. So basically stay tuned to my next tutorial where I will wrap FileWriter into a buffered writer, and we will gain a little bit more functionality. Anyway, that concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching.